When we left off yesterday, Bat was at the veterinarian's office with his mom. Remember, she owns it, and he was helping Lawrence bathe dogs. And remember, Lawrence had just given Bat the skunk kit in the little pouch and has put an apron on Bat, but Bat doesn't want to hurt the skunk kit, and so he's going to stand back and watch. Okay. And the last words that we read yesterday were, maybe you can just keep me company today. How does that sound, Bat Boy? Better, said Bat. I can supervise. Good idea, Lawrence said. You can tell me when I use too much soap. That's easy, said Bat, following Lawrence into the holding room where dogs waited in separate kennels for their bath. You always use too much soap. Bat climbed up on the counter across from the big silver wash basin and watched as Lawrence bent down to open the far kennel. He scooped up a shaggy white poodle who didn't look very happy about what was about to happen. You're okay, Jeff, Lawrence said. He was using his soothing voice, calm and deep. Jeff is a funny name for a poodle, Bat said. Well, a bat's a funny name for a kid, Lawrence answered, setting Jeff into the wash basin before smiling at Bat. Bat smiled back. Then Lawrence got to work. Slipped Jeff's head into a restraint so he couldn't jump out of the tub, then turning on the faucet and running his hand under the water to check its temperature before he started spraying down the dog. That's a new restraint, isn't it? Bat asked. Good eyes, said Lawrence. He shut off the water and began massaging shampoo into Jeff's curly pelt. The other one was getting rusty, so I ordered this new model. Is that a suction cup connecting it to the wall? It sure is, said Lawrence, and a strong one, too. He grabbed a hold of the rope and tugged on it to show Bat how well it was connected to the wall. But with a loud pop, the suction cup came free. Jeff didn't waste any time. With an excited yip, he scrambled over the lip of the wash basin and leaped to the ground, bubbles everywhere. He slipped and slid when he landed, his nails scraping across the linoleum floor. Lawrence reached to grab him, but Jeff was too fast. He scrambled towards the door. There he goes. Bat pulled his legs up onto the counter and crossed them, one arm wrapping protectively around Thor in his sling. The air smelled like warm, wet dog and strawberry shampoo. Lawrence's fingers were inches away from Jeff when his heel found a puddle of soapy water. One moment he was standing, and the next moment he was flat on his back. Are you okay? Bat asked, but he didn't climb down from his perch. His first priority was keeping the kit safe and dry. I've been better, Lawrence groaned. Jeff, who had discovered that the door was closed tight, returned to peer down at Lawrence. He lowered his head and lovingly licked Lawrence's cheek with his long pink tongue. Chapter 18, Dinner Date. Maybe the best moment of the whole day was when Bat finally felt Thor rustling in the pouch that hung around Bat's neck. Thor woke from his nap just when Lawrence was finishing the last bath, which was for an inky spaniel named Webster. Lawrence, Bat said, Thor is waking up. Bat pulled open the sling and gently extracted the kit from it. Holding Thor's warm, wiggly body up to his cheek, the kit's nose twitched as he snuffed around. Baby wants his milk, Lawrence said, and together they fed him. If Bat had his way, he would wear Thor in the sling all the time, but Mom made him take it off at bath time and bedtime. She was willing to compromise at dinner. Really, Bat, don't you think Thor would be more comfortable in his enclosure? Mom said, as she served out 3 platefuls of spaghettis and meatballs. No, said Bat, I really don't. Mom squinted her eyes tight. When she opened them again, okay, Thor can join us for dinner, as long as he stays in his sling. I'll bet when he's older, though, Thor will love spaghetti and meatballs, Bat said happily, twirling a messy forkful of noodles. Skunks eat everything, you know. They're omnivores. Omni means everything. Vor meaning one who eats. We know, Bat, said Janey. You told us already, like 100 times. Don't you think it's interesting? Asked Bat. Don't I think what is interesting? Everything, said Bat. Everything there is to know about animals. Not really, said Janey. I think theater is way more interesting than animals. That's stupid, said Bat, because it was. Bat, said Mom, in her warning voice, deep and serious, with her eyebrows pointed toward her nose. I'm sorry I said your interest is stupid, said Bat. He wasn't actually sorry, because Janey's interest was stupid. Theater was pretend. Animals were real. But Mom had let him bring Thor to the dinner table, so Bat turned his mouth up in a smile and added, Will you forgive me? Mom liked it when he remembered to say that. Whatever, Janey said. Mom, did you make any garlic bread? Oh, it's in the oven. It's probably done, Mom said. Janey pushed back from the table, found an oven mitt in the drawer, and pulled the tray of bread out of the oven. It smelled wonderful. Ezra once said that garlic is the best smell in the world, better even than roses, Janey said, putting the bread slices into a basket and bringing it to the table. That Ezra is a character, Mom said. He's pretty funny, Janey said. He even makes our math teacher laugh, and she doesn't think anything is funny. If she doesn't think anything is funny, Bat said, reaching across the table for a piece of bread, then why does she laugh at Ezra? Is it mean laughing? No, Bat, said Janey. She thinks Ezra is funny. Then why did you say she doesn't think anything is funny? Never mind, Bat, said Janey. Bat took a bite of the garlic bread. The crust was crusty, and then the inside was hot and squishy. Melted butter glazed his fingers, which he licked one by one. They ate for a few minutes without talking, the only sounds the crunching of biting into bread and scraping noise of forks against plates as they wound bites of spaghetti. Then Janey announced, I've decided I'm going to audition for the Queen. I thought you wanted to be Alice, Mom said. That was before I read the script, Janey said. Then I realized that Alice is boring. She just wanders around whining about everything. You'd be good at that part, Bat said. You're good at whining. Mom, whined Janey, make him stop. Bat, said Mom, that wasn't nice. But I said she'd make a good Alice, Bat said. But not for a good reason, Mom explained. Why does the reason matter? I gave her a compliment. I don't think it felt like a compliment to Janey, Mom said. Janey, did it feel like a compliment to you? No, said Janey. It was an insult. You see, Bat, said Mom, it wasn't a compliment to Janey. Suddenly, Bat wished that he had been wearing his earmuffs and that he hadn't even heard Mom and Janey talking about the play. Sometimes it was just better if Bat kept his thoughts to himself. Bat ate a few more bites of his spaghetti and had almost finished all his bread when he felt the wriggling around in his pouch. May I be excused? He asked. Yes, said Janey. Honey, you know it's up to you to model good behavior, Bat heard Mom say to Janey as he headed to the refrigerator to get out the puppy formula. Sometimes, Mom, even I'm not a good enough actress to pretend not to notice when Bat is being weird. Oh, Janey, said Mom. Get out the formula, Bat told himself. Put some in the syringe, warm it up, ignore Janey. Bat knew that sometimes Janey thought he was weird, but he still didn't like to hear her say it out loud. Actually, Janey could be weird too, like when she sang at the top of her lungs in the shower, even though there wasn't an audience, and how she cared if her hair was wavy or straight. Did Ezra ever think that Janey was weird? Maybe that's what makes Ezra her friend, Bat thought. He likes the parts of her that everyone else thinks are weird. Chapter 19, A Blessing of Sorts. 5 nights later at bedtime, Janey noticed the nice thing that Bat had done to thank her for coming up with the perfect name for Thor. It had taken him 2 days to forgive Janey for being so mean during spaghetti night, and another day to come up with an idea. He'd been waiting ever since for Janey to notice, so when she called out from her room, "Mom, have you seen the top part of my unicorn pajamas?" Bat felt excited. "I did all the laundry that was in the basket," Mom answered. "You washed the bottoms, but not the top," Janey said. "Then you must not have put the top in the laundry basket." "Why would I put the bottoms, but not the top?" Janey asked. "Why would I wash just the bottoms if the top was in the basket too?" Mom asked back. Then it was time for Bat to reveal the nice thing. "I know where your pajama top is," he said. "You do?" said Mom and Janey together. "Yes," Bat said. "I took it out of the dirty laundry basket." "Why would you do that?" Mom asked. "Because if I waited until after you washed it, then Thor wouldn't recognize Janey's scent." Janey had been the one to name Thor. Even though Bat didn't like the idea of sharing Thor with anyone, Janey had earned the right for Thor to know who she was. "Did you give the rodent my pajama top?" Janey's voice climbed higher and higher. "Actually," Bat said, "skunks aren't rodents. They're Mephitidae. People used to think that they belonged in the same family as weasels, ferrets, and badgers, but the scientist named Dr. Jerry Dragoo figured out that—" "It doesn't matter, Bat," Janey said, interrupting him. "Get my pajama top right now." "But it does matter," said Bat. Janey was not interested in hearing the difference between Mephitidae and Mustelidae. She refused to listen to anything until after Bat had gone to Thor's enclosure and retrieved the unicorn pajama top from the pile where Thor slept. And when he tried to hand it to her, she wouldn't even take it. "It smells like animal," she said. "It smelled like animal before, too," Bat said, "because I took it from the dirty laundry basket, and it still smelled like you." She didn't scream, exactly. Bat didn't know what to call the sound that she made just before she spun around, stomped back into her room, and slammed the door. Bat felt tears gathering, ready to spill. Mom came over and hugged him tight. She didn't say anything, but she rocked him back and forth in the way he liked, and after a moment Bat felt the sting of his tears begin to fade. "It was a nice gesture," Mom murmured into his hair. Bat liked the hot warmth of her breath. "Baby skunks are easier than sisters," Bat said. "That may be true," Mom answered, "but there are lots of baby skunks in the world, and you only have one sister." Gently she took Janey's pajama top from Bat's hand. He hadn't realized that he was still clutching it. "Come on," she said. "I'll teach you how to do laundry." "Okay," said Bat, "but first I need to check one thing." He stuck his head into Thor's enclosure to make sure the kit was settled back in after having his nest disturbed. Thor was sleeping soundly, making a noise like a tiny little snore. Bat pulled out one of his own t-shirts up over Thor's body, tucking him in. Then he latched the enclosure and followed Mom into the laundry room. "Maybe if we use extra fabric softener," he said, "and make the pajama top softer than it's ever been, then maybe Janey won't be so mad." "I think that is a very good idea," Mom said, "and you can pour it in."